Junior Cycle Higher Level 2014 Sample Paper 1 Question 4. This question is a compound interest question with also a bit of tax rolled in as well. So 5,000 euros invested as the principal, invested for 2 years. The first pass is only interested in the first year. So an interest rate of 3% in the first year, and there's also a tax of 33% deducted from the interest actually earned. So in this question, you're really just having to do a basic percentages process to find out how much tax is, how much interest is due, and then you actually also sort out the tax afterwards, rather than using the compound interest formula for doing several years in one go. So, just simple, 3% of 5,000 euros. And you work that out, it's 150 euros. But before we can actually add that on to the 5,000, we need to just tax 33% of that. So 33% tax. But basically what that does is the quickest way of actually doing that is simply to say, well, what's 67% of 150 euros? And that's what's remaining. Rather than do 33% and then take it away, you just do 67% straight away. And we find that what's left over after the taxing process is 150 euros. And it asks how much the investment is actually. Well, it's the 5,000 plus that amount. You have to read the question. Sometimes the question asks what's the interest earned, and sometimes it asks what's the investment at the end. You need to be very aware of what the question asks to ensure that you don't make the mistake of giving, in a sense, not doing anything mathematically wrong, but giving the wrong answer that's asked of. And then moving on to part 2, we're looking now at the second year, but they don't tell us how much the rate is for the second year. So we have to actually do a little bit of a work backwards. The key thing is we're told what we get at the end of the second year. So at least we can find out how much interest net of tax was earned at in the second year. And that amount comes to 167 euros and 50 cents. But just as before, we need to be aware of the tax that's actually going to be taxed on the interest. So this 167 euros 50 cents is after the tax has been taken off. So this 167 euros is 67% of whatever the interest actually is. So we have to work out what 100% is by dividing that interest actually paid by the percentage that it equals, and this comes to 250 euros. Therefore, the actual rate of interest is going to be the interest divided by the original amount. So this is the amount at the beginning of the second year. And when you work that through, you find it to one decimal place to be 4.9%.